Hello everyone, I'm just going to quickly go over a virtual machine and what a virtual machine is. A virtual machine is essentially a fake computer inside your computer. Now the thing that is unique about virtual machines is they believe they are the real machine. Anything you can do on a real computer, you can essentially do inside your virtual machine. There are many reasons why you would want to do this. In case if you want to test a different operating system, if you want to test out maybe a software that's not on your operating system. So if there's something on Linux that isn't on Windows 10 but you want to test it or use it, then go ahead and run a virtual machine of Linux. You can do security. So let's say you get a virtual machine of Windows 10. You can, let's say, infect it with a bunch of viruses, but those viruses can't actually escape the virtual machine because they think they're in the real computer. Now, actually, a lot of the time, some viruses actually know they're inside a virtual machine and won't even run or install. So, there's some more security things. One thing I use it for is actually backing up. This is currently my Debian virtual machine. I use this for a file server at the house. As you can see up at the top right, it says Debian FS running. The FS I've named it Debian FS, and that's because it's the Debian file server. Now, anything that I actually save onto the server here, I can export this virtual machine with all the files on it and save it and put that somewhere else. So in case if I accidentally delete it, or if I switch machines, or if I need to pull up my server, then I can go ahead and just put that inside any computer that has VirtualBox and pull up this operating system and all the files within it. So obviously, it's very convenient, but it's also good for security and backing up. So it's mostly just for testing, protection, and backing up. There's probably a lot more different purposes you can use it for. So for example, if you want to play a game that is only on Windows 10 and it doesn't run good on Wine, then go ahead and just make a virtual machine for Windows 10, then run the video game through there. You might have to do something different than VirtualBox. Essentially, you can play games through virtual machines. I just don't think on VirtualBox. Now, there is two types of virtual machines. There's they're referred as hypervisors. They are the thing that actually allows the virtual machine to run. So this right here, this is VirtualBox. This manages all of the virtual machines, all of the simulated computers. And this is known as a hypervisor. There are two types. There's type 1, which is essentially your physical hardware, then the hypervisor, then the virtual machine. So that essentially connects your virtual machine directly to the hardware. So there's less delay, and it's easier to actually run things. Things become a lot more smoother. Now, there's probably a lot more to it, but those are just the very basic things. In a Type 2 hypervisor, there is your hardware, your physical computer, then an operating system, like how I have Windows 10 running, then your hypervisor, like my VirtualBox, then my actual virtual machine. And obviously, the main caveat to this is you have to actually save some computer resources for your main operating system so it doesn't crash. You want to make sure that you have enough hardware dedicated to your actual host that is the main operating system that is on your computer. You want to make sure that it has some hardware dedicated to it so it can run. Then you have to actually dedicate some hardware to your virtual machine. As you can see, let me exit these out. Look, right here, it runs like a normal computer. Now, granted, it's kind of slow because I don't have it properly set up and configured hardware-wise, so it's really slow for me, but it does work. Here, so for example, if I did, look, I can type things in. It comes in through the virtual machine. So then if, let's say, I exit this virtual machine, I shut it down, anything that I looked up on the virtual machine stays on the virtual machine, and anything, let's say, I look up on my main system, the virtual machine doesn't receive. So you can do this for security and security purposes too. So there you go. Now, like I said, that's just a very basic overview of what a virtual machine is. I might go into more detail if I have an actual sheet out in front of me, just because I'm kind of bad at explaining and going over things. But like I said, essentially, a virtual machine is just an emulated computer. It can do the same things that your real computer can do. There's hypervisors. Hypervisors run the virtual machines. There is type 1, which is hardware, hypervisor, then virtual machine. Then there is type 2, which is your hardware, your operating system, then your hypervisor, then your virtual machine. And your purposes are for security, for testing, and just convenience of backing up data. So there you go. That is the whole premise of what a virtual machine is, and yeah. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys all later. And if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. And if you have any tech questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. Have a fantastic day. Bye bye.